Yo, how's everyone doing? Got the Super Metroid shirt back, cause this is kind of super when you think about it. When you talk about the dangling keys, as said in the title, it's whenever a piece of news kind of pops up, shiny new piece of news that kind of goes trending, and everyone kind of looks at it. When I kind of compare it to the dangling keys because it's always something new and shiny that's placed in front of you that can actually kind of hinder your progress in whatever you kind of do. Hinder is a strong word, but you'll kind of understand why. So, you could go off any kind of example. I mean, this whole year, and talking as if I was 2020, but that whole year was a slew to a certain degree of dangling keys, fear factors of dangling key. And now we're starting 2021 and there's some more dangling keys with what's happening in the US. And why I'm calling this specifically dangling keys and hindering to yourself is that while you're paying attention to all of that, you're not working on your internal reactions. You're not working on your internal perception, your inner world, which kind of your subconscious mind, which kind of dictates your life. You know, you're being shown, again, keys being dangled in front of you with various assumptions coming from the reporters, from the media, the script that's being ran, leading you to just bringing throwaway judgment on whatever's going on. You're kind of following the crowd. It's like, oh yeah, definitely. Let's point fingers as what's going on with our little piece of judgment on it. Yet you're not necessarily understanding how that's you shooting your own foot in the fucking in the moment. Wherever I've explained it multiple times, and there's so many analogies kind of combusting at the same time that I'm like, how many more ways can I explain this? It's and it's in a joking way. It's not in an accusatory way, but it's like you being taught to throw shit on people still doesn't, remove the fact that this is you taking this habit in your perceptual awareness, in your hard drive, taking the poop in your hard drive just because people collectively did it. Okay? Taking that poop habit into your hard drive, into your being, into your mannerism, into your perception, and then repeating it because you saw those dangling keys. And you never asked that question because it's not a question that's collectively, thrown in those moments. You never ask that question. How is me taking this habit of judging based on those dangling keys, all right, of judging? How is this going to help me or impact me in the next few steps? In the next few hours, in the next few days, right? How is this habit going to help me? How is this habit going to come back? How is this habit going to perpetuate? How is this going to impact me 10 steps ahead? Right? Or you ask an even better question. How would I feel if somebody were to do the same thing to me? Meaning, out of nowhere, you got swept up in a momentum, all right? Because that happens. We've all been swept up in a momentum when we came here and started getting this indoctrination. That also includes school, that also includes parenting. So, you being swept up in a momentum that you didn't necessarily choose, okay? Being taught divisiveness because you didn't necessarily choose to be taught that. It just happened. And television kind of came up and swept up job. Because when you're watching the Dangling Keys, what are you learning? Divisiveness, division, all right? So, you being swept up in that momentum and then being led to performing some actions. You could say whatever you want, but they're not favorable action. They do not bring unity. They do not bring compassion. They do not bring understanding, okay? So, you got swept up into that. Now you're being reported on the news and radio. So if people just kind of judge you based on that, is it alright? Fuck no. They don't know your personal fucking history. They don't know what led you to that. We can get a general base. Again, as said, swept up in a momentum you didn't necessarily choose. So at this point, so would you like being judged this way? You know, let's say people completely ignore the whole momentum thing. Would you just straight up be judged? You know, would it be feel great? Would it be all right? Would it feel great? Would it be? Would it make fucking sense? When you lay it all down, would it make fucking sense? Of course, everything is a yes and no, but when you understand the unchosen momentum, wouldn't make fucking sense. If you understand that you didn't necessarily choose this aspect of division, but now you kind of understand how you've been played, would the judgment still count? Fuck no, you've changed state in that very same moment. So, what you're being taught with the dangling keys is to continuously ignore that and then perpetuate this bullshit up to a point where it obviously comes back to you. You know, whenever you throw shade at people, even the fact that you threw shade is coming back to you, because it's like, oh yeah, you remember that time where you threw shade? Yeah, I didn't really know what I didn't really know. Okay, should you be judged for that? Well, no. Fuck no. Just balance it out. So, it's funny because on top of that, okay, on top of that shit repetition that you're being, pushed to learn, what else happens is you're not paying thought to your inner world, you're not planning what you want to create out of your life. You're not planning what's fun in your life, what you want to build, how you want to grow, and also more understanding of that inner world, which kind of tells you how you impact other people indirectly, just by your mood, your state, what you create. You don't pay attention to that. You're focused on the dangling keys over there. Any little bit of news that just kind of pops up and goes, oh my God, oh shit, this is happening. Please judge it. And as I made fun of on Instagram, you're freaking out over the results instead of understanding the steps to reproduce that led to the results. So nothing changes in your life. You're not creating squat. Well, okay, you are and you aren't, but you're not creating favorable squat. You're not creating favorable stuff for your life when you're focusing on the tangling keys. You're only focusing on shit results. What happens? You keep perpetuating this in your consciousness. You repeat that until it gets into your subconscious, and then you encounter more of that. You pay more attention to the feed as if it had any impact on your life. It does and it doesn't. When you pay attention to it, it does, because your mood's affected by it. Your perception of life is affected by it, which then affects your mood, which then affects whatever else you create from that base. Honestly, learn how your perception is created, bitch. Seriously, you want to make fun of it because we were never taught that in school. And this is literally the single most factor that has affected humanity, okay? When you understand how perception is created and perpetuated, you are able to perceive how humanity has at times, not knowing this, shot itself in the foot, has at times created division because of that, and has had so many losses of life and time, because we could have been expanded and evolving much faster, all right? But hey, dangling keys are happening, right? So you want to make fun of it because as you notice those steps to reproduce to the result that have, when it comes to the various events, both tragedy and good stuff happening in our civilization, then you no longer fall prey to the whole dangling key. Here are the results. Focus on that and repeat that in your mind. Fear it. You don't fall into that anymore. Okay? You also understand how your own perception was created leading to certain events in your life. So if you're unhappy about certain results in your life, you can just change that. Change your momentum, change your step to reproduce to the current moment. But you can't do that when you're wasting time with the dangling keys that won't even give you the steps. And they can't, because they'll never know the mindset, what led to it, the intricate, granular events that led to certain mindsets that led to the results, which are the dangling keys. You'll never know. You will never fucking know. All right? You never will. They'll never bring both parties or all of that in a room to just kind of go, okay, we need to understand what created this mindset that led you to take an action, which led to this result. They'll never will. It doesn't sell. Drama sells. Idiocy sells. Don't call it idiocy. Sorry. I was kind of going off Idiocracy as well. That movie is a bit of an example of stuff that you don't necessarily want to run through. But reaction, emotional reaction sells. Okay? But that's just dangling keys. That's just, again, propagation into your subconscious. This isn't helping your life. It never did. Did and didn't. Okay, it might lead up to a certain momentum that'll eventually lead you to face it. So, in that case it does. Because eventually you get sort of sick and tired of reacting off the dangling keys. Oh, and also the reacting. Neuroscience is going to fucking tell you, and you can even bring up some quantum physics into it. The more you react, the more you get that depression, anxiety rolling off those dangling keys and go, ugh, my faith in humanity is affected by that Fox News article or all of that, The more you affect your cells and you fucking literally murder yourself. Cellular-wise, it's like the how do you say, the boiling water and the frog analogy. You foster that mood, you foster that reaction. It becomes normal to have that reaction and that perception of life. And unawareingly, you're just boiling yourself in a soup of shit that for your cells, for your DNA, that literally fucks with you on that level as well. So you get fucked mentally and you get fucked around DNA-wise. Come on! You want to start perceiving this habit that we've collectively joined into without knowing, and then just detach. Completely detach. Another joke I made on Facebook, man. You're going to wake up, you're going to go on your social media feed just like a buffet, a breakfast buffet, but there's going to be that horse poop in there. And it's all randomly selected because you're not going to be, you don't have master control over your feed. At one point, when that horse poop news is going to pop up, and you're going to eat it straight up in the morning. And then you're going to go, it's everyone else's fault. But that's just a perpetuated habit. It ain't anyone else's fault. You just went to that breakfast buffet knowing there's going to be horse poop. You already had that yesterday. You scroll. Ooh, ice cream sundae, cat video. Ooh, there's a cool little drawing. So that's a fine crepe, a waffle. And then piece of news. Horse poop. Familiar taste. Nasty. It's your fault. Even though I clicked on that fucking social media icon. I clicked and I scrolled through this. But it's your fault that I tasted that horse poop this morning. No, man. Just stop getting affected by the dangling keys. We're the first generation to actively understand this momentum that has been perpetuated in the past. So, let's take pride in understanding this, and then without going on the unbalance of the righteousness, justice bullshit that happened, because extreme left, righteousness doesn't help. It really, the problem just perpetuates. If you're going to do this for an aspect of self-righteousness and then pointing it out to other people's face, you're not helping. Because again, what if someone else were to do that to you when not in the know? again, it's kind of like this soft balance of understanding you don't know what you don't know at the time that you don't know. So it's not about pushing that in people's face in a righteousness aspect. It's just taking this with a balanced aspect of pride. Hey, first generation to see this, awesome. Let's balance this. Let's help other people not roll with that kind of unselected momentum, which then leads them to post about how their life isn't fun, and which perpetuates the depression. So we see this, we understand this, we take a different momentum, we take a different flow, and then we softly help people move out of those let's say, unthought of, undiscussed, it just wasn't thought about until this point where we did have the time to think about it and notice the many factors from multiple perceptions. Again, big ass world co-op. It was always that way. Now it's much more poignant and apparent. So, again, don't fall for the dangling keys. And understand, you're the only one who's going to be able to figure out your own perception of the world in an aspect of understanding how it was created. And you understand the same factor for everyone. So, let's go for that Unity 2021. Let's do this, all right? Don't fall for the dangling keys. And don't eat that horse poop on social media. Come on, man. You have entire choice. Keep that imagery because it's a funny way to kind of go, I'm about to click on Facebook. It's 5 a.m. I'm about to click on Facebook. Do I want that horse turd in my mouth? No. And it's a random select. Okay, how do I consciously select now? What do I want to go on these media, in the first place? What am I actually seeking that I can potentially get everywhere else in a much more controlled space instead of having the chance of having horse turd in my breakfast? You choose. You always had the choice. It's just all about figuring out what in your perception tells you don't have the choice, and only you're going to figure it out as you spend time on that. So you can only be given the tools. Now use them. Kick some asses and let's get this going.